You are sitting still. Nothing is happening, and something inside you is screaming. It is not pain. It is not hunger. It is not fear. But it is unbearable in a way that is almost impossible to explain. You reach for your phone. You open an app you just closed 30 seconds ago. You get up, sit back down, check the time, sigh. You are bored, and your brain is treating it like an emergency. That feeling is not a flaw. It is not a sign that you are weak or lazy or broken. It is one of the oldest signals in the entire human nervous system. And once you understand what it was actually built to do, the way you feel right now will never make sense the same way again. Boredom, as most people understand it, is a modern problem. Too much leisure, too much screen time, not enough stimulation. That is the story. But that story is wrong. Boredom is not a product of modern life. It is far, far older than modern life. And it was not built to torture you. It was built to save you. Your ancestors did not sit in offices. They did not scroll through feeds. They lived in open landscapes where doing nothing was not a luxury. It was a death sentence. Stillness meant exposure. Exposure meant predators. And predators meant you were gone. The brain that learned to tolerate stillness did not survive long enough to pass its genes forward. The brain that grew restless, agitated, compelled to move, to scan, to search, that brain lived. And you are descended from it. This is what researchers now call the boredom as signal hypothesis. The neuroscientist James Danckert at the University of Waterloo has spent over a decade studying boredom, and his findings are striking. Boredom is not the absence of feeling. It is an active mental state. It is your brain firing a specific signal at you, designed to do one thing, force you to change your behavior. Think about what boredom actually feels like in your body. Your attention drifts. You feel vaguely irritable, vaguely anxious. Time slows down in a way that feels almost physical. Your mind reaches for anything, any object, any thought, any task that might resolve the tension. That is not randomness. That is a directed alert. Your brain is telling you what you are doing is not enough. Move, look, find something. For your ancestors, that signal was the difference between finding food and starving, between discovering shelter before the storm and being caught in the open, between noticing the movement in the tall grass and becoming the meal. Boredom was not a problem to be solved. It was the engine of survival. It pushed early humans off the ground and into exploration, into curiosity, into the relentless drive to find something better. John Eastwood, a psychologist at York University, published research in 2012 that defined boredom in a way that changed how scientists think about it. His team described it as the aversive experience of wanting but being unable to engage in satisfying activity. The key word is aversive. Boredom is supposed to feel bad. That discomfort is the point. The pain is the message. Your brain is not malfunctioning when you are bored. Your brain is working perfectly. It has assessed the situation. You are understimulated, underengaged, not extracting value from your current environment, and it has triggered the oldest behavioral nudge in the human repertoire. Go do something else. Go somewhere else. This place, this moment, this activity is not enough. But here is where it gets strange. Here is where the ancient signal meets the modern world and everything goes sideways. For most of human history, the response to boredom was physical movement. You got up, you walked, you explored, you hunted, you searched. The restlessness resolved itself through action in the real world, and either you found something useful or you burned the restlessness off through effort. Either way, the signal completed its circuit. Now imagine what happens when you feel that signal and your response is to open Instagram. You are not exploring a landscape. You are not scanning for food or danger or opportunity. You are consuming an infinite scroll of prepackaged stimulation designed by engineers to feel like novelty without delivering any of the rewards that novelty was supposed to lead to. The boredom signal fires. You respond. But the circuit never closes. The ancient brain that wanted you to find something real receives something fake. And so, 30 seconds later, the signal fires again. Psychologists call this doom scrolling. Neuroscientists call it a failure of the attentional reward system. Your brain calls it more, more, more. Researcher Sandi Mann at the University of Central Lancashire has argued something even more provocative. That boredom, when you sit with it instead of immediately escaping it, is one of the most powerful triggers of creativity in the human mind. Her studies showed that people who were made to do boring tasks before creative exercises significantly outperformed people who went straight into those exercises. Boredom, it turns out, forces your default mode network, the part of your brain responsible for imagination, daydreaming, and future thinking, to activate. The discomfort of having nothing to focus on forces your mind to generate its own material. Your ancestors who sat with restlessness long enough to let it sharpen into vision, they planned. They invented. They drew on cave walls and figured out which plants would return in which seasons, and imagined what might lie beyond the ridge they had never crossed. Boredom was the pause before the breakthrough, and you are wired exactly the same way. The same neural machinery is sitting inside your skull right now. So what are you actually doing when you reach for your phone the moment the signal fires? You are short-circuiting one of the most sophisticated motivational systems your species ever developed. You are handing a scalpel to someone who wanted to perform surgery and watching them use it to open a bag of chips. The signal was built for a world where there was always something real to find. A world where movement led somewhere, where curiosity had a physical outlet, where the discomfort of boredom resolved into discovery or exhaustion or both. It was not built for a world where infinite artificial stimulation is available at the cost of 2 taps and 0 real-world effort. None of this means that your phone is evil or that boredom is secretly wonderful. Chronic boredom, the kind that persists across all contexts and never resolves no matter what you do, is genuinely linked to depression, impulsivity, and poor mental health outcomes. Danckert's research has documented this in detail. There is a version of boredom that has gone from signal to static, where the system itself has started to malfunction. That is different. But ordinary boredom, the boredom that arrives when you have a moment of stillness, when you are waiting, when you sit quietly with no task and no screen, that boredom is not your enemy. It is your oldest advisor. It is the voice that says something is not enough. Look harder. Go further. Think bigger. What your ancestors did with that signal changed the world. They crossed continents with it. They domesticated fire with it. They built language and art and agriculture out of the restlessness of minds that could not stand to do nothing. Tonight, when you feel that familiar crawl of boredom creeping in and your hand moves toward your phone before you even notice it, pause for just a second. Not because you should resist the urge, but because you should recognize it. That is an ancient signal. That is your brain telling you that this moment has more to offer than what you have found so far. It has been whispering that to humans for hundreds of thousands of years. You are not bored because something is wrong with you. You are bored because something in you still believes there is more to find. And maybe it is right.